Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the New Horizon, staring at the strange message that had just arrived. The year was 2157, and humanity had been exploring space for over a century. They had found empty planets, ancient ruins, and signs of old civilizations, but never living aliens. Until today. The message came from somewhere near the Kepler 442 system. Jake had been running a simple survey mission, checking planets for resources and signs of life. His crew of 45 people were used to quiet weeks in space collecting data and samples. Nobody expected to receive a communication from beings they had never met. "Captain, the message is repeating," said Lieutenant Ben Carter from the communications station. "They're using basic mathematics and simple pictures. They want to meet us." Jake looked at the translation on his screen. The aliens called themselves the Zephyrian Empire. They claimed to rule 12 different worlds and had been watching Earth for some time. They wanted to meet human representatives on a neutral location. "Send a message back to Earth Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them we have first contact. Then prepare a response to these Zephyrians. Tell them we accept their meeting." 3 days later, Jake received new orders from Earth. A special diplomatic team would join his ship, and they would meet the aliens on a small moon called Artemis 7. The moon had an atmosphere humans could breathe and was far from both Earth and Zephyrian space. Dr. Linda Hayes arrived first on a fast transport ship. She was Earth's best expert on alien life, even though she had never seen any real aliens before. She spent her time studying life on distant planets and trying to guess what alien creatures might be like. Linda was excited but nervous about meeting real aliens for the first time. Peter Collins came next. He was a diplomatic attaché who specialized in difficult negotiations. Peter had helped solve conflicts between different human colonies and was known for staying calm under pressure. He brought with him files about human culture, history, and biology to share with the aliens. The last member of the team was Colonel Amy Rodriguez. She was a military advisor with experience in both combat and peacekeeping missions. Amy was there to assess any threats and make sure the human team stayed safe. She also brought along security equipment and weapons, just in case. The meeting place was a research station that had been built on Artemis 7 decades earlier. The station was small but had meeting rooms, laboratories, and living quarters for both human and alien delegations. Jake landed the New Horizon on the moon's surface and waited. The Zephyrian ships arrived like nothing humans had ever seen. 3 massive vessels, each one larger than any human warship, descended from space with perfect formation. They were dark purple with strange markings that seemed to move and change color. Energy fields crackled around the ships as they landed near the research station. Jake felt his heart racing as he watched the alien ships. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, but now that it was happening, he felt small and worried. These aliens had technology far beyond anything humans possessed. The Zephyrian delegation emerged from their ships wearing environmental suits that looked more like armor than protection. Their leader was tall and thin, with 4 arms and skin that changed colors like their ships. Through the translation device, he introduced himself as High Commander Vexthal of the Zephyrian Empire. The first meeting took place in the station's main conference room. Jake sat across from Vexthal while Dr. Hayes, Peter Collins, and Colonel Rodriguez took seats nearby. The alien delegation included 12 different beings, each one representing a different species from their empire. "Welcome, humans," Vexthal said through the translator. His voice sounded like metal scraping against stone. "We have watched your species for many years. We are curious about your development and your world." Peter Collins responded for the human team. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, High Commander. Earth is honored to make contact with your empire. We hope this can be the beginning of peaceful relations between our peoples." Vexthal made a sound that the translator said was laughter. "Peaceful relations depend on many things, human Collins. We must first understand what kind of species you are. We propose a cultural exchange. We will show you examples of life from our worlds, and you will show us examples from yours." Dr. Hayes leaned forward with interest. This was exactly what she had hoped for. "We would be very interested in such an exchange, High Commander. we have brought extensive records of Earth's wildlife and ecosystems. The Zephyrian scientist, who introduced himself as Kilmore, activated a holographic display in the center of the room. The first image showed a creature that made Colonel Rodriguez reach for her weapon before stopping herself. The Krillian Deathstalker stood 12 feet tall on 6 legs, each one ending in claws that could cut through steel. Its body was covered in black armor-like plates, and electricity crackled between 2 horn-like projections on its head. The creature moved with deadly grace, hunting smaller animals by stunning them with electromagnetic pulses before tearing them apart. The Deathstalkers are the apex predators of Krillia Prime, Kilmore explained. They can generate enough electrical energy to disable your human technology. They hunt in packs and have never been defeated by any other creature on their world. The next image showed something even more terrifying. The Vorthak swarm beasts looked like a cross between insects and reptiles. But what made them dangerous was their numbers. The hologram showed thousands of them moving across a landscape, eating everything in their path. They reproduced so quickly that they could double their population every few hours. The swarm beasts can consume an entire ecosystem in days, Vexthal said with obvious pride. They are perfect biological weapons. No defense can stop them when they reach critical mass. The final creature made Jake feel sick to his stomach. The Gorgon Leviathan was a sea monster over 200 feet long. Its tentacles could crush spaceships, and its mouth was large enough to swallow a building. The hologram showed it destroying an underwater city with casual ease. The Leviathans rule the ocean worlds of our empire, Kilmore continued. They are intelligent, nearly immortal, and impossibly strong. They have sunk entire fleets of ships and can survive in the vacuum of space. When the alien presentation ended, the room was quiet. Jake looked at his team and saw his own concern reflected in their faces. These creatures were like nothing from Earth. They seemed designed purely for destruction. Very impressive, Dr. Hayes said, trying to keep her voice steady. Now let us show you some examples from Earth. She activated her own holographic display. The first image showed an African lion, its mane flowing in the wind as it surveyed its territory. The male lion was powerful and majestic, clearly the king of his domain. The Zephyrian delegation looked at the image for a moment. Then several of them made the scraping sound that meant laughter. Vexthal spoke up first. "This creature is your apex predator?" he asked. "It appears slow and clumsy. How does it hunt?" Dr. Hayes showed footage of lions hunting in groups, using strategy and teamwork to bring down large prey. She explained how they were perfectly adapted to their environment and had ruled Africa for thousands of years. The aliens laughed harder. Kilmore pointed at the screen with one of his thin arms. "These creatures would not survive one day on any of our worlds. They lack any special abilities. No electricity, no rapid reproduction, no size advantage. They are merely large mammals with teeth." Colonel Rodriguez felt her anger rising, but kept quiet as Dr. Hayes continued the presentation. She showed tigers, bears, sharks, and eagles. Each time, the alien response was the same mockery and dismissal. "Your bears are too slow," Vexthal declared. "Your sharks are trapped in water. Your eagles are tiny and weak. How did your species ever develop civilization with such pathetic guardians?" When Dr. Hayes showed images of poisonous snakes and spiders, the aliens were briefly interested in the venom. But Kilmore quickly dismissed them as well. "Simple chemical weapons," he said. "Our medical technology could easily neutralize such primitive toxins. Your planet seems to have produced nothing but soft, weak creatures that rely on simple tricks to survive." Jake felt humiliated as the alien delegation continued to mock Earth's wildlife. Everything that humans considered dangerous or impressive, the Zephyrians saw as laughably primitive. Dr. Hayes tried to explain the complexity of Earth's ecosystems and the evolutionary pressure that had shaped its creatures, but the aliens weren't interested. "Clearly your world developed without any real challenges," Vexthal concluded. "Your creatures are playthings compared to the predators of our empire. It is remarkable that humans managed to develop intelligence at all, given such weak evolutionary pressure. The meeting ended with the aliens offering what they called a learning opportunity. They suggested that humans could benefit from studying truly dangerous creatures, and perhaps the Zephyrian Empire could help protect Earth from any real threats that might arise in the galaxy. As the alien delegation returned to their ships, Jake and his team sat in stunned silence. Their first contact with aliens had turned into a lesson in human inadequacy. Earth's proudest predators had been dismissed as harmless pets. 3 weeks passed after the humiliating first meeting with the Zephyrians. Jake Morrison found himself staring at reports from Earth every day, reading about the public reaction to humanity's first contact with aliens. The news wasn't good. People across Earth were angry and embarrassed. The alien footage had been broadcast worldwide, showing the mighty creatures of the Zephyrian Empire compared to Earth's animals. Social media was full of jokes about how humans had been protected by harmless pets instead of real predators. Some people even started questioning whether humanity deserved to be in space at all. Jake sat in his quarters on the New Horizon, reading the latest message from Earth Command. President Karen White had called an emergency meeting with the Global Defense Council. Military leaders wanted to prepare for war, assuming the Zephyrians would try to conquer Earth. Scientists wanted to study alien technology. Politicians wanted to find a way to save face after the embarrassing cultural exchange. A soft knock on his door interrupted Jake's reading. "Come in," he called. Dr. Linda Hayes entered, carrying a data pad and looking excited despite the recent humiliation. "Captain, I've been analyzing the biological scans from our meeting with the Zephyrians. I think I found something important." Jake looked up with interest. "What kind of something?" Linda sat down across from his desk and activated her data pad. "The aliens look strong and impressive, but their biology shows some interesting weaknesses. Look at this." She showed him detailed scans of the Zephyrian delegates. Their skin was thick and their muscles were dense, but their immune systems looked strange compared to human biology. "Their immune systems are incredibly specialized," Linda explained. "They're perfect for fighting off diseases and toxins from their own worlds, but they've never encountered anything like Earth's pathogens. It's like they've been living in a sterile environment for thousands of years." Jake frowned. "What does that mean for us?" "It means they might not be as tough as they think they are," Linda said with a small smile. "Their creatures are impressive, but they've evolved in a very different way than Earth's animals. They rely on size, strength, and special abilities. Earth's creatures had to survive in a much more complex environment." Before Jake could respond, his communication system buzzed with an incoming message. Lieutenant Carter's voice came through the speaker. "Captain, we're receiving another transmission from the Zephyrians. High Commander Vexthal wants to speak with you directly." Jake and Linda hurried to the bridge. On the main screen, Vexthal appeared in what looked like a throne room on his flagship. His skin was shifting through different colors, which the translation system said indicated amusement. "Captain Morrison," Vexthal began, "we have been discussing your interesting species. We have decided to offer you what we call a biological supremacy trial." Jake kept his expression neutral. "What kind of trial, High Commander?" "We will bring specimens of our greatest predators to a neutral world. You will bring specimens of your Earth creatures. We will conduct controlled tests to see which world has truly produced superior life forms. This will settle the question of biological development once and for all." The alien's tone made it clear he expected an easy victory. Jake looked at Linda, who was nodding slightly. "We would need time to consider such a proposal," Jake said carefully. "Of course," Vexthal replied. "But consider this, Captain Morrison. Your species seems to believe your creatures are more capable than they appeared. This trial will give you a chance to prove that belief, or to learn the truth about biological superiority. We will await your response." The transmission ended, leaving Jake and his crew staring at a blank screen. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. "He's trying to humiliate us again," Colonel Rodriguez said finally. "This trial is just another way for them to show off their superior creatures." "Maybe," Linda said slowly. "Or maybe it's exactly the opportunity we need." Jake looked at her with surprise. "You think we should accept?" Linda's eyes were bright with an idea that was clearly forming in her mind. "Captain, I think the Zephyrians have made a serious mistake. They're judging our creatures by the wrong standards. 2 days later, Jake received orders from Earth. President White had decided to accept the Zephyrian challenge despite strong opposition from the Global Defense Council. The message was clear. Humanity needed to restore its reputation in the EA galaxy even if it meant taking a big risk. A new team member arrived on a fast transport ship. Dr. Alex Turner was a former Marine who had become an expert on dangerous animals. He had spent years studying Earth's most deadly creatures, from the jungles of South America to the deserts of Australia. He was also known for his unconventional thinking about animal behavior. Dr. Turner, Jake said as they met in the ship's conference room. Earth Command says you're our best hope for this trial. What do you think of our chances? Alex was a quiet man with scars on his hands from various animal encounters. He smiled grimly as he looked at the footage from the first alien meeting. The Zephyrians are making the same mistake that gets people killed in the wild, he said. They're judging danger by size and obvious weapons. They think bigger and scarier means more deadly. Isn't that true? Colonel Rodriguez asked. Not always, Alex replied. The most dangerous creatures on Earth aren't always the biggest or the strongest. They're the ones that have been tested by millions of years of evolutionary pressure. Earth is a tough place to survive, Colonel. Much tougher than these aliens realize. Linda leaned forward with interest. What creatures would you recommend for the trial? Alex activated a holographic display showing various Earth animals. First, the saltwater crocodile. These aliens think their Deathstalkers are impressive hunters, but they've never seen a predator that can wait motionless for hours, then explode into action with enough force to crush a car. The hologram showed a massive crocodile launching itself out of water to catch prey. The speed and power were incredible, even though the creature had seemed completely still moments before. Second, the African honey badger. Alex continued. The Zephyrians will think it's small and harmless, but pound for pound, this might be the toughest animal on Earth. It fights off lions, survives venomous snake bites, and never gives up. Ever. The next image showed a relatively small black and white animal that looked almost cute, but the footage showed it attacking much larger predators with fearless aggression. Third, the box jellyfish, Alex said. Nearly invisible in water, but its venom can kill a human in minutes. The aliens are impressed by electricity and brute force, but they've probably never encountered anything this quietly lethal. Colonel Rodriguez looked skeptical. These don't seem as impressive as the alien creatures. That's exactly the point, Alex replied. The Zephyrians expect big, obvious threats. They won't know how to handle Earth's more subtle forms of death. He showed them more creatures. The inland taipan snake with venom potent enough to kill hundreds of humans with a single bite, the bullet ant with the most painful sting on Earth, and various other animals that had evolved specific ways to kill or survive. And finally, Alex said with a mysterious smile, the common mosquito. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Colonel Rodriguez laughed. You want to bring a mosquito to prove Earth's biological superiority? Colonel, Alex said seriously, mosquitoes kill more humans every year than any other animal on Earth. They spread diseases that have shaped human history. They're small, hard to detect, and they carry biological weapons that can destroy entire populations. Linda's eyes widened as she understood. Disease vectors. The Zephyrians won't have any natural immunity to Earth pathogens. Exactly. Alex nodded. Their immune systems are specialized for their own worlds. They've never had to deal with Earth's particular brand of biological warfare. Over the next few weeks, the team prepared for the trial. Special containment systems were designed to keep the Earth creatures safe and healthy during transport. Environmental controls were tested to make sure each animal would have the right conditions for the trial. Jake found himself studying footage of Earth's animals with new respect. He had always thought of lions and tigers as Earth's apex predators, but Alex showed him a different perspective. Earth's real weapons weren't always the most obvious ones. Dr. Hayes spent her time analyzing more data about Zephyrian biology. The more she learned, the more convinced she became that humanity had a real chance in this trial. The aliens were powerful, but they had evolved in a much simpler environment than Earth's creatures. Their worlds are more stable than Earth, she explained to Jake one evening. Less climate variation, fewer competing species, more predictable environments. Their creatures became big and strong, but they didn't develop the same survival instincts as Earth animals. The location for the trial was announced: Nexus Prime, an abandoned planet that had been terraformed centuries ago, but left empty after a mining accident. It was neutral territory, far from both Earth and Zephyrian space. The planet had various environments that could accommodate different types of creatures. As the New Horizon prepared to leave for Nexus Prime, Jake received one final message from President White. "Captain Morrison," the president said, "humanity is counting on you and your team. This trial isn't just about animals anymore." Nexus Prime looked like a dead world from space. The planet hung in the darkness between two small suns, its surface showing patches of brown and gray where cities once stood. Jake Morrison watched through the New Horizons viewports as they approached the landing coordinates. "It's bigger than I expected," Dr. Linda Hayes said, standing beside him. The planet was almost twice the size of Earth, with 3 large continents and vast oceans that reflected the distant starlight. Dr. Alex Turner was checking his equipment one final time. "The environmental data looks good," he reported. "The atmosphere is breathable. Gravity is only slightly higher than Earth normal, and the climate zones should work for our specimens." Colonel Amy Rodriguez was monitoring the ship's sensors. "Captain, I'm detecting massive energy signatures on the surface. The Zephyrians are already here, and they brought a lot of equipment." Jake activated the main view screen and saw what she meant. 3 enormous alien ships sat on the planet's surface like metal mountains. Around them, construction crews were building what looked like a vast complex of interconnected buildings and enclosed areas. "They're not taking any chances," Jake muttered. "This looks more like a military base than a testing facility." The human landing was much quieter. The New Horizon touched down several kilometers away from the alien construction site, in an area that had been designated as neutral ground. Jake and his team could see the Zephyrian complex in the distance, with strange lights and energy fields glowing around various structures. Within hours of landing, a delegation of aliens approached the human ship. High Commander Vexthal led the group, his skin shifting through confident blue and purple colors. Behind him came Kilmore the scientist and several other Zephyrian officials Jake recognized from their first meeting. "Captain Morrison," Vexthal said through the translation device, "welcome to Nexus Prime. We have prepared extensive facilities for our biological comparison. We are eager to begin these tests." Jake noticed that the alien's tone was different this time. Less mocking, but more coldly confident. This wasn't entertainment for them anymore, it was business. "High Commander," Jake replied formally, "Earth's delegation is ready to proceed with the agreed-upon trials. We've brought our specimens as discussed." Kilmore stepped forward, his large black eyes reflecting the light from the nearby suns. "We are curious to see these creatures of yours, Captain. Our preliminary analysis suggests this will be a brief demonstration of biological superiority." Dr. Turner spoke up quietly. "We're confident in our selections, Kilmore. Earth's creatures might surprise you." The alien scientist made the scraping sound that indicated amusement. "Surprise is unlikely, Human Turner. We have analyzed the biological data from your first presentation. Your creatures show no capabilities that would challenge our specimens." The tour of the Zephyrian facility was impressive and intimidating. The aliens had built separate biomes for each type of test, with advanced monitoring equipment and safety systems that could contain the most dangerous creatures in known space. The first area they visited housed the Krillian Deathstalkers. Through reinforced transparent walls, Jake watched 3 of the massive predators prowling their enclosure. Each creature was the size of a small building, with electrical energy crackling constantly around their horn-like projections. "The Deathstalkers have been fed and are at peak performance," Kilmore explained. "They can generate electromagnetic pulses strong enough to disable your ship's electronics. Their claws can cut through any known metal. They hunt with perfect coordination and have never been defeated in combat." The next area contained the Vorthak swarm beasts. Jake felt his stomach turn as he watched thousands of the insect-like creatures moving in perfect synchronization. They filled their entire enclosure like a living carpet, occasionally surging upward in waves that crashed against the ceiling. The swarm beasts can double their population every 4 hours when provided with adequate food, Vextal said proudly. In optimal conditions, a single breeding pair can become 1 million individuals within days. They have consumed entire ecosystems on multiple worlds. The final stop was the most terrifying. The Gorgon Leviathan floated in a massive aquatic environment, its tentacles slowly moving through the artificial ocean. Jake estimated the creature was over 200 feet long, with each tentacle thicker than a tree trunk. The Leviathan is over 3,000 years old, Kilmore continued. It has intelligence comparable to your human scientists, but with the physical power to crush your largest buildings. It can survive in vacuum and has destroyed fleets of warships. After the tour, the aliens wanted to see Earth's creatures. Jake led them to the New Horizons' specially modified cargo bay, where each Earth animal was housed in carefully controlled environments. The alien delegation gathered around the first enclosure, where a massive saltwater crocodile rested motionless. In shallow water, the creature was 18 feet long and weighed over a ton, but it seemed almost sleepy compared to the active Deathstalkers. "This is your apex predator?" Vextal asked, his skin colors showing obvious disappointment. "It appears to be sleeping." "Crocodiles are ambush predators," Dr. Hayes explained. "They conserve energy until the perfect moment to strike." Kilmore activated a scanning device and studied the readings. Primitive neural structure, limited electrical activity, slow metabolism. This creature would not survive a single encounter with a Deathstalker. The next enclosure held the African honey badger. The small black and white animal was busy investigating its environment, showing no fear despite being surrounded by strange aliens and unfamiliar technology. Several aliens made the scraping laugh sound. "This is clearly a pet species," one of them commented. "It shows no defensive behaviors or threat displays." "Actually," Dr. Turner said calmly, "the honey badger is showing typical behavior. They don't display fear because they don't feel it." The box jellyfish floating in its aquatic container drew brief interest from the aliens, but only because of its unusual transparency. "An interesting adaptation for camouflage," Kilmore noted, "but it lacks any obvious defensive or offensive capabilities." The inland taipan snake was dismissed even more quickly. "Another primitive creature relying on simple chemical weapons," Vextal declared. "Our medical technology could easily counteract any toxins it produces." When they reached the bullet ant container, the aliens barely glanced at the small insects crawling on branches and leaves. "Insect species," Kilmore said dismissively. "Too small to be significant." The final container held common mosquitoes in a specialized environment that mimicked Earth's tropical regions. The tiny insects were nearly invisible as they moved through the air. "These are your biological weapons?" Vextal asked, his skin shifting to colors that indicated confusion and mild disgust. "They appear to be parasitic insects." "Mosquitoes are disease vectors," Dr. Hayes explained. "They transmit pathogens between hosts." "Irrelevant," Kilmore replied immediately. "Our immune systems are far too advanced to be affected by primitive Earth diseases. This entire selection seems designed to waste our time." Jake felt the familiar sting of humiliation as the aliens mocked Earth's creatures again. But he noticed that Dr. Turner was watching the aliens carefully, studying their reactions and their biological scans. "The trials will begin tomorrow," Vextal announced. "We will conduct 3 phases of testing. First, hunting ability and predatory effectiveness. Second, defensive capabilities and survival instincts. Third, biological warfare and environmental adaptation. Each phase will be conducted in controlled environments with monitoring equipment," Kilmore added. "We will record all data for scientific analysis. The results will be transmitted to both our governments as proof of biological superiority." As the alien delegation left, Jake and his team gathered in the ship's conference room. The mood was tense and worried. "They're completely confident," Colonel Rodriguez observed. "They think this is going to be easy." "Maybe too confident," Dr. Turner said thoughtfully. "Did you notice their biological scans? Their immune systems are incredibly specialized, but they're also incredibly narrow. They've never encountered
anything like Earth's pathogens. Linda was reviewing data on her pad. Their creatures are impressive, but they're designed for specific types of combat.
The Deathstalkers rely on electrical attacks and brute force. The swarm beasts use overwhelming numbers. The Leviathan uses size and strength. What's your point? Jake asked. Earth's creatures use different strategies, Linda continued. Patience, precision, biological warfare, and pure stubbornness. The aliens are judging them by the wrong standards. Dr. Turner stood up and walked to the viewport, looking out at the alien complex. Tomorrow, we're going to show them what millions of years of evolutionary warfare really looks like. Earth didn't produce the biggest predators in the galaxy, but we produced the smartest, toughest, and most adaptable ones. Jake hoped his team was right. In a few hours, Earth's reputation in the galaxy would be decided by creatures that the aliens had already dismissed as harmless pets. The Zephyrians had built their arena and prepared their champions. Now they would learn whether size and obvious power could defeat the subtle, tested weapons that Earth's harsh environment had created. Dawn on Nexus Prime brought strange orange light from the planet's twin suns. Jake Morrison stood outside the New Horizon, watching as dozens of alien observers gathered around the testing facility. The Zephyrians had invited representatives from other species in their empire to witness what they expected to be an easy demonstration of their biological superiority. Dr. Alex Turner was making final checks on the Earth creatures' transport containers. Each animal was in a specialized environment that would keep them healthy and comfortable during the trials. Dr. Linda Hayes was reviewing her biological data one last time, while Colonel Amy Rodriguez kept watch for any signs of alien treachery. Nervous? Jake asked as Alex sealed the last container. Not about our creatures, Alex replied quietly. I'm worried about what happens after we win. High Commander Vexthal appeared with his usual confident stride, his skin showing bright blue colors that indicated excitement and anticipation. Behind him came Kilmore and a group of alien scientists carrying recording equipment. Captain Morrison, Vexthal announced, we are ready to begin the trials. Our observers are eager to see this demonstration of biological comparison. The first testing arena was designed to measure hunting ability. It was a large enclosed area with rocky terrain, water features, and various prey animals that had been specially bred for testing purposes. The prey animals were fast, smart, and had basic defensive abilities. We will begin with our Deathstalker, Kilmore declared. It will demonstrate proper predatory behavior. The massive Krillian creature was released into the arena through a reinforced gateway. It stood 12 feet tall, its black armor glinting in the orange sunlight. Electrical energy crackled around its horn-like projections as it surveyed the hunting ground. The Deathstalker moved with surprising grace for such a large creature. It identified a group of prey animals near a water source and began stalking them with calculated precision. When it got within range, the creature discharged a powerful electromagnetic pulse that stunned the entire group. The stunned prey animals collapsed, unable to move or flee. The Deathstalker approached calmly and used its razor-sharp claws to kill them quickly and efficiently. The entire hunt took less than 5 minutes. The alien observers made sounds of approval and satisfaction. Vexathal's skin showed even brighter, colors of pride. Excellent technique, Kilmore announced for the recording devices. The Deathstalker demonstrates superior hunting ability through advanced biological weapons and tactical intelligence. Now it was Earth's turn. Dr. Turner had chosen the saltwater crocodile for the hunting trial. The massive reptile was carefully moved into the arena, where it immediately entered the water and became almost completely still. Is the creature malfunctioning? One of the alien observers asked. It appears to be sleeping, Kilmore noted with obvious disappointment. Perhaps Earth creatures require more stimulation to activate their hunting behaviors. Minutes passed. The crocodile remained motionless in the water, looking like a floating log. The prey animals in the arena began to relax and move closer to the water source, apparently unaware of any danger. This is taking too long, Vexathal said impatiently. Your creature shows no hunting instincts at all. Dr. Turner remained calm. Crocodiles are patient hunters. They can wait for hours or even days for the right opportunity. More time passed. The alien observers began making sounds of amusement and boredom. Some started to leave, convinced that Earth's creature was defective or simply too primitive to understand the concept of hunting. Then it happened. A prey animal bent down to drink from the water, coming within 3 feet of what appeared to be a harmless floating log. In less than a second, the crocodile exploded into motion. Its massive jaws clamped down on the prey animal with a force of over 3,700 pounds per square inch. The creature performed its signature death roll, spinning rapidly in the water until the prey was dead. The alien observers fell completely silent. They had never seen anything like it. The crocodile had waited motionless for over an hour, then attacked with such sudden violence that even their advanced recording equipment barely captured the movement. "Impossible," Kilmore whispered, reviewing the data. The creature showed no electrical activity, no preparation signals, no warning indicators. How did it know when to attack? Dr. Hayes smiled for the first time since arriving on Nexus Prime. Millions of years of evolution. Crocodiles have been perfecting ambush hunting since before the dinosaurs. They don't need electrical weapons or special abilities. They use patience and explosive power. The second phase tested defensive capabilities. The Zephyrians released their Vorthak swarm beasts into an arena filled with various threats and obstacles. The thousands of insect-like creatures moved as one organism, flowing around barriers and overwhelming anything that tried to stop them. When the swarm encountered a series of automated defense systems, they simply absorbed the losses and kept moving. Lasers cut down hundreds of them, but thousands more kept advancing. Explosive charges scattered their formations, but they regrouped instantly and continued their advance. The swarm beasts demonstrate perfect collective behavior, Vexithal announced proudly. No individual defense can stop them. They sacrifice the few to protect the many. For Earth's defensive test, Dr. Turner had chosen the African honey badger. The small black and white animal was released into the same arena, now reset with fresh defensive systems and new threats. The alien observers watched with barely concealed amusement as the tiny creature began exploring its environment. It weighed only 30 pounds and stood less than a foot tall. Compared to the massive swarm that had just filled the arena, it looked completely helpless. "This cannot be serious," one alien observer commented. "The creature is smaller than some of our recording equipment." The first automated defense system activated, firing a laser at the honey badger. The beam struck the animal directly but seemed to have no effect. The honey badger's thick skin and dense fur absorbed the energy, and the creature simply continued moving toward the source of the attack. "Interesting defensive adaptation," Kilmore noted, "but insufficient against serious threats." Then the arena released a large predator designed to test defensive responses. The creature was twice the size of Earth's largest bears, with claws and teeth designed to tear through armor. It charged directly at the honey badger, expecting an easy kill. What happened next shocked every alien observer into silence. The honey badger didn't run. It didn't hide. It didn't show any sign of fear at all. Instead, it charged directly at the attacking predator, making aggressive sounds and showing no concern for the size difference. The predator, confused by this unexpected response, hesitated for just a moment. That was all the honey badger needed. It attacked with furious intensity, its claws and teeth finding weak points in the larger creature's defenses. The honey badger fought with such relentless aggression that the much larger predator actually retreated. "This is impossible," Vexthal said, his skin colors showing confusion and disbelief. "The small creature should have been killed instantly. Why did our predator retreat?" Dr. Turner was grinning broadly. "Honey badgers don't understand the concept of giving up. They've been known to fight off lions, hyenas, and even crocodiles. Size doesn't matter to them. They just keep fighting until they win or die." The arena then released venomous creatures designed to test poison resistance. The honey badger was bitten multiple times by snakes that should have killed it within minutes. Instead, the small animal became slightly sluggish for a while, then recovered completely and continued its aggressive exploration of the arena. "The creature appears to be immune to our test toxins," Kilmore reported, his voice showing the first hints of concern. This level of poison resistance is unprecedented in our biological database. The third phase was supposed to test biological warfare capabilities. The Zephyrians confidently released their Gorgon Leviathan into a massive aquatic arena. The ancient creature was over 200 feet long, with intelligence that rivaled any scientist and physical power that could destroy cities. The Leviathan demonstrated its abilities by manipulating the water environment, creating whirlpools and tidal waves that would have sunk any normal ship. It showed tactical intelligence by using the arena's features as weapons, hurling debris with its massive tentacles and creating complex water patterns that trapped and confused prey. The Leviathan represents the perfect combination of intelligence and physical power, Vexthal declared. It has ruled ocean worlds for millennia without challenge. For Earth's biological warfare demonstration, Dr. Turner made a choice that stunned everyone present. He selected the box jellyfish for the aquatic test. The nearly transparent creature was so small that many alien observers couldn't see it in the water. It moved slowly and gracefully, its tentacles trailing behind like invisible threads. Compared to the massive Leviathan, it looked like a piece of drifting debris. "Your biological weapon appears to be decorative," Kilmore commented sarcastically. "Perhaps it serves some cultural purpose on your world?" The test involved releasing various aquatic creatures into the arena to interact with Earth's representative. The first creature that encountered the box jellyfish brushed against one of its trailing tentacles. The final phase of testing was scheduled to demonstrate the ultimate in biological warfare. High Commander Vexthal stood before the assembled observers, his skin colors showing forced confidence despite the shocking results from the previous trials. The Zephyrian delegation was no longer laughing or making dismissive comments about Earth's creatures. "The final test will determine true biological supremacy," Vexthal announced, though his voice lacked its earlier certainty. "We will demonstrate our most advanced biological warfare capability." Dr. Alex Turner checked his equipment one last time. He had saved Earth's most devastating weapon for this moment, and he knew it would change everything. Jake Morrison stood beside him, watching the alien observers who were now treating Earth's creatures with obvious respect and caution. "Are you sure about this?" Jake asked quietly. "Captain," Alex replied, "the Zephyrians think biological warfare means big, obvious weapons. They're about to learn what real biological warfare looks like." The aliens prepared their demonstration first. They released a modified version of their Vorthak swarm beasts into a large environmental chamber. These creatures had been engineered specifically for biological warfare, carrying diseases and toxins that could devastate entire ecosystems. The swarm spread through the test environment like a living plague. Plants withered and died where they passed. Test animals collapsed within minutes of contact. The very air became poisonous as the creatures released their biological weapons. The enhanced swarm represents the pinnacle of biological warfare technology, Chilmore explained to the recording devices. They can render entire worlds uninhabitable within weeks. No known biological defense can stop them. The demonstration was terrifying and impressive. The test environment became a wasteland in less than an hour. Nothing living remained except the swarm creatures themselves, which continued to multiply and spread their deadly cargo. "Your turn, humans," Vexthal said, gesturing toward the second, environmental chamber. "Show us what primitive Earth creatures consider biological warfare." Dr. Turner approached the chamber carrying a small container that seemed almost empty. The alien observers leaned forward, trying to see what Earth's ultimate biological weapon might be. "I present Earth's most deadly creature," Alex announced, opening the container. "The common mosquito." The alien observers fell silent. Then several of them made the scraping sound that indicated confused amusement. "This is your biological warfare demonstration?" Kilmore asked incredulously. "Tiny flying insects?" "These insects killed more humans throughout history than all wars combined," Dr. Linda Hayes explained. "They carry diseases that have shaped civilization on Earth." Vexthal's skin showed colors of disappointment and mild anger. "Captain Morrison, this appears to be another waste of time. These creatures are too small to be relevant." "Give them a chance," Jake said calmly, though he was secretly sharing the aliens' doubts. The mosquitoes were released into the environmental chamber, which had been stocked with various life forms similar to those found on Zephyrian worlds. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The tiny insects flew around the chamber, occasionally landing on plants or test animals. The alien observers quickly lost interest. Some began discussing the previous tests, while others started making preparations to leave. The mosquitoes were clearly too insignificant to matter. Hours passed. The mosquitoes continued their quiet work, moving from organism to organism throughout the test environment. They were so small that the alien monitoring equipment barely registered their presence. Then Dr. Hayes noticed something on her biological scanners. "Captain, look at this data." Jake studied the readings from inside the test chamber. The organisms that had been bitten by mosquitoes were beginning to show signs of systemic infection. Their immune systems were fighting against something they had never encountered before. "The mosquitoes are carrying Earth pathogens," Linda explained excitedly. "Diseases that Zephyrian biology has never seen. Their immune systems don't know how to fight them." More hours passed. The infection spread through the test environment in ways that the alien scientists couldn't understand. Unlike the obvious destruction caused by the swarm beasts, this was invisible warfare that attacked from within. "Impossible," Kilmore muttered, reviewing his instruments. "The test subjects are dying, but we can detect no toxins, no obvious biological weapons." "That's because you're looking for the wrong thing," Dr. Turner explained. "These aren't toxins. They're living organisms. Bacteria, viruses, and parasites that have been fighting immune systems for millions of years on Earth." The full scope of the disaster became clear over the following days. The organisms in the test chamber didn't just die quickly like those attacked by the swarm beasts. They suffered through extended illness that weakened them gradually before killing them. Worse, the diseases spread from organism to organism, creating an epidemic that the Zephyrian medical technology couldn't stop. "This is biological terrorism," Vexithal accused, his skin colors showing alarm and anger. "These creatures are spreading uncontrolled plagues." "This is evolution," Alex replied firmly. "On Earth, every creature has to deal with disease. Our immune systems have been tested by millions of different pathogens. Your creatures are powerful, but they've never faced this kind of biological warfare." Dr. Hayes activated her own scanning equipment and showed the results to the alien delegation. "Your immune systems are incredibly advanced, but they're too specialized. They're perfect for fighting diseases from your own worlds, but completely helpless against Earth pathogens." The implications were staggering. The Zephyrian Empire had conquered 12 worlds through superior technology and impressive creatures, but they had never encountered biological warfare like Earth's mosquitoes carried. Their advanced medical science could heal physical injuries and neutralize known toxins, but it couldn't fight diseases that had never existed in their part of the galaxy. "How many of these diseases do your mosquitoes carry?" Kilmore asked, his voice showing growing concern. "On Earth?" "Hundreds," Linda replied. "Malaria, yellow fever, dengue fever, Zika virus, and many others. Each one has been fighting human immune systems for thousands of years, getting stronger and more sophisticated." The alien delegation held a private conference, speaking in rapid tones that the translation devices couldn't follow. Jake could see that they were arguing about something, their skin colors shifting through patterns that indicated disagreement and alarm. Finally, Vexithal approached the human delegation. His earlier arrogance was completely gone, replaced by something Jake had never expected to see from the aliens: respect tinged with fear. "Captain Morrison," the High Commander said formally, "we must discuss the implications of these trials." "What implications?" Jake asked, though he suspected he knew where this was leading. "Your creatures have demonstrated capabilities that our science never predicted," Vexthal continued. "The patient hunting methods, the fearless defensive behavior, the concentrated toxins, and most concerning, the biological warfare through disease vectors." Kilmore stepped forward with his recording equipment. "We have documented everything. The data will be transmitted to our government and to the other species in our empire." "And what will you tell them?" Colonel Amy Rodriguez asked. "The truth," Vexthal replied grimly. "That we have encountered a species whose biological heritage surpasses our own. Your creatures are not primitive. They are weapons forged by evolutionary Pressure that no world in our empire has ever experienced. Dr. Turner nodded slowly. Earth is a dangerous place. Every creature that survived there had to be tough, smart, and adaptable. Size and obvious power aren't enough on our world. You have to be able to outlast, outthink, and outlive everything that wants to kill you. The alien delegation was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see them processing the reality of what they had witnessed. Their mighty empire, with its impressive creatures and advanced technology, had been humbled by animals they had initially dismissed as harmless pets. There is another matter we must discuss, Vexthal said finally. The Zephyrian Empire has rules about biological weapons. Creatures that can spread uncontrolled diseases are considered threats to galactic stability. Jake felt a chill of concern. Are you saying Earth's creatures are illegal? Not illegal, Vexthal clarified quickly, but powerful enough to be regulated. The Empire has protocols for dealing with species that possess weapons of mass biological destruction. What kind of protocols? Jake asked. Quarantine, isolation, sometimes elimination, Chilmore answered bluntly. The human delegation exchanged worried looks. They had won the biological trial, but victory might have made Earth a target for preemptive action by the Zephyrian Empire. However, Vexthal continued, his skin colors shifting to patterns Jake hadn't seen before. There is another option. The Empire also has protocols for recruiting species with exceptional biological capabilities. Recruiting for what? Dr. Hayes asked. Partnership, Vexthal replied. The Zephyrian Empire faces threats from beyond our current borders. There are hostile species in distant parts of the galaxy that our conventional biological weapons cannot defeat. We may need allies who understand different forms of warfare.